Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
What is going on, IE Sports Radio fans? That was the sultry tunes of my awesome intro song that I found on YouTube. Copyright free, which is awesome. It is your boy, the SoCal Saint, back at it again with another new edition of the IE Elite Wrestling Show. The premier wrestling podcast, the only wrestling podcast on IE Sports Radio. The IE Elite Wrestling Show is your direct feed for all that is sports. Excuse me. Let me change that. The IE Elite Wrestling Show is your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports. IE Sports Radio. I am back again. What is going on? What is good, everyone? And I got some folks in the chat room. Just wanted to shout out. Steve Copeland is in the chat room. What's up, dude? The head honcho, of course, Larry B. And Adam Karnick is in the chat room as well. What is going on? These are members of the Larry and Adam are members of course, IE Elite fandom, and of course of IE Sports Radio. Man, we got a lot to talk about. I think I have more news to talk about today, just in general with the wrestling world, than I do specific like events. I know I'll have an update for you guys today for Money in the Bank, because the landscape for Money in the Bank is starting to come to fruition. We're actually starting to take shape now. We've got a couple more people announced for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have a new match in general that has been announced for Money in the Bank pay-per-view event. Two more matches that were just announced last Monday night on Raw, which was last night. And just, but mainly, we got a lot of stuff to talk about that's wrestling related, wrestling themed. And if you're listening live on Spreaker.com, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you're listening on the download later on, on Apple Podcasts, that's also awesome. I do appreciate that. Try to get our numbers up. Please, if you like what you're listening to, leave a like. Show your appreciation. I would truly appreciate it, not just myself, since I am the host of the show, but also the members of the IE Sports Radio family, any of our fantastic shows. The very beginning of the show, I played a drop for the... I just lost it. Here to go. I just had it on my page here. The Buffalo Huddle. So that's a great show. Please check it out. And I'll have some more drops to play for you later. Actually, it's funny that Adam is in the chat room right now because I was planning on playing a drop for the Neutral Zone later on today during the show. So you'll get to hear a promo for his show. That's how I'm gonna call it. Drops. Sure, I guess that's like podcast lingo, but in the professional wrestling world, that's a promo. Okay, so sorry, Larry. Anyway. We'll jump right into it. We got some stuff to talk about. Actually, if you're a fan of a particular type of wrestling, which I'm talking about, is Lucha Libre. That is the Mexican style of professional wrestling that was made famous, of course, south of the border in Mexico, my father's birthplace. Where my father currently is. My dad is visiting my grandmother in Guadalajara. I know I probably just butchered that name. But that's where my dad is now, and I think he's going to bring me back. It's a good tradition. Whenever my dad goes to Mexico, he usually brings me back a lucha mask. The first time he brought me a mask of probably the most famous luchador in history, in Lucha Libre history, next to, I would say, Rey Mysterio, would be probably the first and most legendary masked wrestler in professional wrestling history, El Santo. He brought me a replica mask of El Santo, and then I was given a mask of Sin Cara on his last trip, and I'm hoping that he surprises me with another awesome mask this time around. Taryn Rodriguez is in the chat room. What's up, sir? Nice to see you there. So, speaking of Lucha Libre, it has been announced that on July 15th, one of the biggest shows in Lucha Libre will be taking place live on Fight. You can actually watch it. It will be airing live on Fight. That's Fight TV. That's FITE. That's FITE for those looking to look it up. It's going to be Triple Mania 31. Triple Mania 31 presented by AAA, which will be taking place on July 15th, 2023. Live at 6 p.m. It's going to be live if you're in Mexico at the time, or happen to be south of the border on the California side of the border near TJ, because that's where it's taking place, in Tijuana, Mexico. I'm going to butcher this right now. I believe the name of the arena is the Estadio de los Toros de Tijuana. God, that's terrible. I'm half Mexican and I can't even say it right, but I apologize. Yes, the Estadio de los Toros de Tijuana will be the site for Triple Mania 31. And big matches have been announced for this event in an ambulance match. It's been announced in an ambulance match from AEW. QT Marshall will be teaming with Taurus to take on the Laredo Kid and fellow AEW superstar Pentacon Jr. That's El Penta 0M Cero Miedo. That's right. That's going to be a big match, a tag team ambulance match where the winner, to be able to win the match, you have to incapacitate your opponents to the point where you chuck them in an ambulance and drive them up the stage, and that's it. That's how the match is won. in another big match announced actually for the this is a special match that will be contested. We got a women's 6-man tag team match. Will be Sexy Star, Lady Shani, and Dailies taking on Vivi Vaughn, Natalia Markova, and the reigning defending NWA Women's World Champion for over 700 days now, Camille. That's going to be a big match. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that match. And in the main event, this is probably the selling point here. It's a rematch from their match that took place on Dynamite a few weeks back. It will be for the Lucha AAA Mega Championship. It will be the champion, El Hijo del Vikingo, defending the title against the best bout machine, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is heading back south of the border to have probably another classic match against Vikingo in the main event of Triple Mania 31. Again, you can order the show here in the United States and view it live on Fight TV. If you're in Mexico wanting to watch it and you can't be in Tijuana, I believe the service is called Space. I believe. I'm not really privy to that service. That's new to me, so you'll have to check that out. But that sounds like a pretty strong card just with those 3 matches alone so far. This past weekend, there was a big event that took place for Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling had a big pay-per-view this past Friday night, Against All Odds. And 2 big title changes took place at Against All Odds. We had becoming a record 9-time X Division champion, one half of the legendary tag team, the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin, defeated Trey Miguel to become the X Division champion for a record 9th time. And man, the victories just kept on coming for the Motor City Machine Guns, because later that night, Steve Maclin lost his Impact World Championship to the other half of the Motor City Machine Guns in his first ever victory and reign as Impact World Champion, or just World Champion of any company. Alex Shelley is the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. Congratulations to both of these guys getting their flowers. They have been one of the best tag teams to come out of Impact, and it's nice to see them getting some solo recognition. Both of them holding 2 top singles titles in Impact Wrestling today. Chris Sabin, X Division champion once again, and now Alex Shelley will be and is the Impact Wrestling World Champion, and his first title defense is already set in stone when at Slammiversary, which I believe is sometime next month. I'll have to get back with you with the exact date. I do apologize, but I do know the match is already set in stone. Alex Shelley will be defending the Impact Wrestling World Championship against former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion and a former TNA World Champion, Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis will be challenging Alex Shelley for that Impact Wrestling World title, and another world title match already set for that pay-per-view as well. At Slammiversary, it will be for the Impact Wrestling Women's World Championship. Deonna Purrazzo defending her title against former SmackDown Women's Champion, formerly known as Naomi, now going by her real name, Trinity. Trinity will challenge Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Women's World title at Slammiversary. I should have led into this, actually, when I was talking about AAA, because this actually came out just a couple days ago, and I had to read this because this was something I was talking about. I know Larry was really vocal about it when he was in the chat room, when I was talking about Forbidden Door and how AAA wouldn't allow certain wrestlers, particularly the Mexican wrestlers, to not appear at Forbidden Door due to New Japan Pro Wrestling having a preference to their main competition in Mexico, CMLL. So 2 of the biggest names that were under contract, as you hear me say past tense, were under contract to AAA are no longer. That will be Bandito and Rush. Yes, Rush, who is also an AEW superstar, have left AAA. They have cut ties with AAA. Bandito has said sayonara, and Rush has also said hasta luego, peace, deuces, I'm out to AAA. And this was Rush's official statement. I do apologize if it doesn't come together correctly, but he has also, it's not only Rush, it's actually 3 of them, Rush, Bandito, and Rush's father, Bestia del Ring, have left AAA. And this is what it says here in his official statement that he put on Twitter, translated from Spanish. It was, Rush has quit AAA effective immediately. And hypothetically speaking, this does free up Rush and Bandito to participate in AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door pay-per-view in just a couple of weeks. So we may actually get some semblance of some lucha versus Japanese strong style dream matches, potentially because of these developments. And this is his official statement from Twitter on Rush's official Twitter page. For the second time, my father, Bestia del Ring, and White Bull Rush, we are out of Lucha Libre AAA worldwide. We are totally independent! ! Adolfo Tapia Ibarra, who is the owner of AAA, you and I don't need a roulette. No other clowns. People are not stupid. The day a real promoter, you feel in the middle of 2, and we put a contract to sign that day. We know you, the public, me, that will be true. Only until that day will all the more will be pure promises, and I am up to the challenge. So yeah, apparently whatever happened between Rush and Ibarra really rubbed him the wrong way, and Rush was just like, fuck it, I'm done. You know, kiss my ass, I'm out of here. And his father was like, alright son, me too, fuck him, boom, I'm out too. And then a couple days later, Bandito was like, you guys left too? Alright, I'm out as well. So we've got, I know Rush's father is not under contract with AEW, but Bandito and Rush are. So these 2 guys have a chance to appear at Forbidden Door now, hypothetically speaking. Unless there was some sort of non-compete clause in their contracts with AAA, but that I am not privy to. But that happened. That came out this past weekend, so that's crazy. So we got Bandito and Rush apparently freed up to appear at Forbidden Door if contractually possible. Hopefully it is. Back to Impact. It was announced during Against All Odds, the pay-per-view that just happened this past Friday, that one half of the Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions and Japanese wrestling legend Hiroshi Tanahashi will be in attendance at the interpromotional event set to take place on August 20th at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. For those who don't know, the 2300 Arena used to be known as the ECW Arena. That's right. Impact and New Japan are putting on Multiverse United 2, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Tickets are on sale now at ImpactWrestling.com. August 20th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the formerly known ECW Arena. And what a big name. Hiroshi Tanahashi is set to appear at Multiverse United 2. That's big for Impact and big for New Japan. Hiroshi Tanahashi does not make too many appearances in the United States. So for him to be announced for this event for Impact is a big get for Impact. This is big. Impact, they are a sleeper. People are sleeping on Impact, man. Impact has been subtly, consistently great for the last 2 years, really. They just been kind of just laying in the shade, just kind of like just chilling. They're not even paying attention to what WWE's doing. They're not focusing on what AEW's doing. They're just doing their own thing. And what their own thing is very, very entertaining. Excuse me. And they've just been slowly, steadily rebuilding the foundation, rebuilding their fan base. And from what I can see and what the chatter is online, Impact is usually can't miss, especially with their events. The wrestling is solid. The storylines have been solid. And now you got another chance at a crossover with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I know the big one right now that everybody's focused on is Forbidden Door. And, I mean, doodly so, because there's 2 huge matches already announced for that pay-per-view. But here comes Impact on the heels of that to announce, hey, we got Hiroshi Tanahashi coming to our crossover event. So don't miss that out either. So that's I kudos to Impact for that. I'm excited to actually get to see that event. This past weekend, a record has been broken. Actually, yesterday, 2 days ago. No, it was yesterday. I'm sorry. It was yesterday. As of yesterday, Gunther has broken a record. Gunther is now the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of the modern era. Officially, he hit over 365 days. He's been champion for over a year, and he is close. He is 13 weeks away. If Gunther can stay Intercontinental Champion for 13 more weeks, he will beat 2 long-standing records from the 80s premier huge megastar era of the WW then F at the time. These records were set in stone in the 80s, in the early and mid-80s, and they have never been broken, and this is the closest it has ever come to being broken. He would have to reach the date of September 8th to break the record for the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. And he is just a few weeks away from breaking the second longest reigning Intercontinental Championship reign. And these are who those reigns belong to. The second longest Intercontinental Championship reign sits at 414 days. And guess who that belongs to? It belongs to the man who's at the top. The cream of the crop. It always rises to the top. Yeah, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. That's right. The Macho Man Randy Savage holds the second longest reign as the Intercontinental Champion at 414 days. And the absolute longest reign of the Intercontinental title at 454 days belongs to the Honky Tonk Man. I got long sideburns and my hair slicked back. I'm coming to your town in my pink Cadillac. I'm just a honky tonk man. He's a honky tonk man. I'm the honky tonk man. I'm the honky tonk man. I'm cool. I'm cocky. I'm bad. That's right. The Honky Tonk Man still sitting at the top of the record books for the Intercontinental title and has been since the 1980s, guys. And Gunther, the leader of Imperium, is only 13 weeks away from potentially finally breaking the Honky Tonk's long-standing record. Will it be done? Who knows? A lot of records have already been broken. Bianca Belair broke the record for the longest reigning women's champion in history. The Usos have broken the longest reigning tag team championship record that was previously held by the New Day, previously held by Demolition. So, and also this past weekend, another record was broken, not to mention Roman Reigns has finally broken the longest reigning WWE championship record of the modern era by surpassing the 434-day reign of CM Punk as WWE Champion. So that record is now shattered. Roman Reigns has been WWE Champion longer than CM Punk was. So I think WWE needs to keep Gunther strong. And I think it's time to break the Honky Tonk record, man. I think it's time. All these old records are getting shattered. It's just crazy to see. man, still got a little bit to talk about. We're still here in the WWE news. This is actually WWE / Hollywood news. Want to put this out there. According to social media scoopers, the role that Seth freaking Rollins, the current World Heavyweight Champion, is playing in the film Captain America, which used to be called Captain America New World Order for life, has now been renamed Captain America Brave New World. He has finished shooting his scenes for that movie. And the character that he is playing apparently is King Cobra, the leader of the Serpent Society. So maybe Seth Rollins' role in Captain America will be more than just a mere cameo. He might actually have a decent part in the film with him having such a high-profile character that he's playing in King Cobra, the leader of the Serpent Society. So his role has been finished, and we'll have to wait till next year when Captain America Brave New World drops next year. And also in some more Hollywood news, I don't know if anybody actually watched this show religiously, but The Rock's show, Young Rock, the TV series, has not been renewed for a 4th season and has been canceled by NBC Universal. So that's a kibosh on The Rock's show. I thought it was entertaining for the most part because I liked when they would go back and forth and between like Rock's time in the Attitude Era and to now, and then it would go back when Rock was a child and he would see all these old wrestlers, and you had all these actors playing a lot of old wrestlers like Macho Man and Andre the Giant, and his father Rocky Johnson, of course, and Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans. So I mean, that's unfortunate. Like I said, I don't know if anyone was a big fan of the show or will miss the show, but yes, the show is canceled, will not be returning to NBC at any time. And speaking of The Rock, the hits just keep on coming. This is a big report here. I would love to hear what Larry has to think about this. I wish I could get Larry on here to talk about this portion of the show. But this is actually, I guess, it's wrestling related because it involves The Rock, but it's more football related because this is about the XFL, which is owned by The Rock and his manager / ex-wife, Dany Garcia. XFL has lost an estimated $60 million in the first season, per this report by Forbes. The XFL reportedly lost upwards of $60 million this season and cut some jobs as a result. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is now the controlling interest in the XFL, is looking to not only grow its following, but turn it profitable. The first year under Johnson and business partner Dany Garcia was rough, but the duo believes there's a path ahead. It was the first season of the XFL since 2020, when the league's return was spoiled at the halfway point due to the coronavirus pandemic. It was the first full season of the XFL that was played since 2001, when the league subsequently folded. Next season, the league has a revenue target of $100 million, with about a quarter of its income coming from TV partner ESPN, which pays the XFL $20 million per season to broadcast its games. Garcia believes that there is a path to success for the league moving forward, as the XFL has capital commitments in place for years, including sponsorships with Progressive and Under Armour. Johnson shares a similar vision for the long term, even with a difficult road ahead. "My goal was to get through the first season," he said. "This is not just an endeavor that's going to fill up a portfolio one day. We flip it and we're out. This is the legacy. This is the long game. Only time will tell whether Johnson and Garcia's bet on the XFL will be a winning one, but they're certainly going to be going out swinging either way." That is, I don't know. It seems like a substantial amount of money to lose. I know Rock, it seems like Rock has just been not hitting the greatest of luck. Black Adam wasn't a big hit. It was a flop, apparently. I mean, I watched the film. I thought it was decent. It wasn't anything special. I mean, I mainly watched it because I heard Henry Cavill was back as Superman, but that's a whole nother fucking Pandora's box I don't want to open right now. And then Rock apparently is back in the Fast and the Furious family after talking shit about Vin Diesel, saying he would never go back. I guess apparently the failure of Black Adam was just too much for him, and he kind of just sucked it up and was like, hey, can I come back? I mean, maybe, who knows? And then Young Rock gets canceled, and now the XFL takes a huge financial hit. I don't know. I sent this, I sent this actually on my Facebook page the other day, and I was like, Rock, it's time for you. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the wrestling gods are telling you to come back to professional wrestling. Just lace up your boots one more time and have your swan song in the ring, man. Just come back, Rock. It feels like everything is telling you to come back to what made you who you are originally. Come back to wrestling. Have this big last program with the bloodline. I feel like the story writes itself. You got the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, saying he's the head of the family, he's the head of the table, he's the one that's keeping us afloat. He basically runs the family. And then here comes The Rock. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! Roman Reigns. You say you're the head of the table? The tribal chief? The one above all? You've never gone one-on-one with the Great One. Boom. It writes itself. But that's just my opinion. Ring of Honor has just announced another pay-per-view event. Ring of Honor has announced their next pay-per-view event, actually, will be taking place on Friday, July 21st in Trenton, New Jersey, at the Cure Insurance Arena. It'll be Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. No matches have been set as of yet. Tickets are now on sale, though, and they are on sale at ROHTix, that's ROHTIX.com, and also Ticketmaster.com. Friday, July 21st, Trenton, New Jersey. Showtime is at 7 p.m. at the Cure Insurance Arena. Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. Let's see. I got another thing I need to talk about here. Oh, speaking of... Okay, so we have some terrible AEW news to talk about. This actually happened yesterday when I was at work. This came out. BJ Whitmer, who was a producer for matches in AEW, has been fired from AEW due to this. 4-time Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion and AEW producer BJ Whitmore has been arrested for burglary and strangulation. BJ Whitmore was arrested on the evening of June 4th by the Boone County Sheriff's Office in Boone County, Kentucky. Whitmore has been charged with strangulation in the first degree and burglary in the second. The first-degree offense covers situations where one person chokes another and causes an injury in the process. Burglary is the second degree, refers to non-residential burglaries. A bond amount of $25,000 was set for Whitmer, bound to a grand jury. He was released on June 12th, 2023. The release comments in the final release. And he tried to cover it up. Apparently he didn't tell AEW about this, but AEW caught wind of it, as they should. I don't know, that seems like a huge secret to try and even keep. So now he's out the door. So I would say good riddance to a big old piece of shit. So that's one less piece of shit underemployment with AEW, and that's for good reason. Nobody should hire this man. This man should be barred from wrestling forever. He should never, ever, ever have another job in professional wrestling. So, if anybody gives this guy a job, you are just as big of a piece of shit as he is. That's just my opinion. Let's get some lighter tones in here. The exclusive WWE TV rights negotiating windows for both Fox and NBC Universal have officially closed, and the company can now officially solicit interest from the rest of the broadcast and streaming world. The 5-year deals with both NBC Universal which was for $265 million a year, with for Raw, and Fox at $205 million a year, expire next October 2024. And apparently there is already a suitor in the form of both Disney and Amazon are reportedly very interested in the television rights to WWE. If no deal is reached to renew, SmackDown and Raw will leave their respective networks sometime in late 2024. But apparently, Disney wants to bring either Raw or SmackDown to one of the new networks that they now own, which I believe is FX. That's what I've heard. But apparently, Disney is the front runner, and WWE has long been saying they want to be in business with Disney. They want to be in the Disney family. And this is probably their way of doing so. I mean, they're kind of almost already there in a way with the merger of the UFC and WWE under that umbrella with Endeavor. UFC, of course, streams live their pay-per-view events on ESPN, which is also another branch of the Disney tree. It's very complicated, it seems like. But yeah, so there you go. Apparently, WWE is being is kind of trying to be suited away or romanticized away from NBC and Fox by Disney and Amazon. So I don't know if unless NBC Universal and Fox can give them more lucrative deals to stay where they are, or they get, or they just can't match the fat pockets of Amazon and Disney or whoever. So we will see. And, of course, I know I talked about this last week. I was very excited about the two big matches that have been announced for Forbidden Door. Of course, that is for the IWGP United States title. Kenny Omega defends the IWGP United States title against the number one contender in a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom this year, Will Ospreay. And the big match that I'm most excited to see, of course, Bryan Danielson goes one-on-one for the very first time ever against Kazuchika Okada. Okada and Danielson have never fought in a ring, have never had a match together. This is the first time, and I'm very excited. Like I said, you could sell a pay-per-view on just those two matches alone. Make that 3 if this rumor is to be believed. This was first reported by Fightful.com. Apparently there is very serious talks about this match taking place at Forbidden Door, and I feel like this is a dream match of dream matches that could never happen. It could have happened in WWE had CM Punk never left the company, because this man was once employed under the WWE umbrella. He was known as Hideo Itami at the time. Now he's going by his original ring name, his more famous ring name as Kenta. Of course, yes, it's the man who created the move that you could say CM Punk made famous. It could be the Battle of the GTS. These two men both use the GTS as their finisher, and this is a match that just writes itself. Apparently, it is being discussed for Forbidden Door. It will be CM Punk versus NJPW Strong Champion Kenta. Punk and Kenta could come to battle at Forbidden Door. You got Danielson Okada. You got Will Ospreay and Omega, and now you potentially have Punk and Kenta. This pay-per-view is looking pretty damn strong, I have to say. I am very, very excited at the potential of AEW, NJPW, Forbidden Door 2. It's definitely looking more entertaining than last year's Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which I did not. Well, I was whatever. I didn't really care. This one has definitely got my attention. I definitely might shell out the money to actually watch this show. And we'll get into the Money in the Bank here shortly. We're going to take a quick little break here, and then we will get into the Money in the Bank card that's coming up in the O2 Arena in London here in just a couple weeks. Stay tuned, guys.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernan.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone, 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 zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
What is up, IE Sports Radio fans and fans of the IE Elite Wrestling Show? It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, back again. If you're just tuning in, we actually had a lot to talk about. It was a lot more wrestling news than I had specifically reviews, but now we're back, and I get to talk about some stuff that has happened in the last couple days. This past Friday night on SmackDown and last night on Raw, the two women's championships that we have been knowing and been in circulation up until just those days, the Raw Women's Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship are no longer a thing. Their lineage will remain intact, added to these new titles. On this past Friday night on SmackDown, Asuka was presented with the brand new WWE Women's Championship, and it's definitely to me, I feel like it's more aesthetically pleasing. They remained with the white strap. Seems, I don't know, title belts with white straps just always seem really cool to me. One of my favorite championship belts of all time is the Intercontinental title, the old school Intercontinental title design with the white strap that Cody Rhodes brought back in like 2001, I believe. I believe it was 2001 he brought that title back. That was my favorite version of the Intercontinental title with the white strap. So I feel like titles with the white strap always look really nice. And so, yes, this one remained with the white strap. It looks exactly like the new undisputed WWE Universal Championship that was presented to Roman, 2 weeks ago. It's now just a more condensed, smaller version for the women, and was presented to Asuka this past Friday. And immediately after that, here comes Charlotte Flair out of obscurity, the first time since WrestleMania, to challenge Asuka for the women's title, which did not sit well with Bianca Belair. And apparently it is set for 2 weeks away. It will be Asuka defending the title against Charlotte, which I really hope Asuka does not lose the title immediately to Charlotte. It just does not seem right if that happens. Also, another title match was set for that same show where Charlotte will challenge Asuka for the title on SmackDown. It will be the NXT Women's Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, defending their titles in a unification match against the defending WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Shayna Baszler and Rowdy Ronda Rousey. There can only be one. It's almost like a Highlander. There can only be one. One set of women's tag team champions. They are going to unify the tag team titles together, and then whoever wins, it will be unified into the women's championship tag team titles. They will appear on every show. That's NXT, that's SmackDown and Raw, defending those titles. And that's what it should have been from the start. I was taken aback whenever all of a sudden NXT had their own set of NXT Women's Championship tag titles, because at first, when they were originally thought of, in theory, the WWE Women's Tag Titles were supposed to be defended on every brand. So it didn't, there wasn't a need for an NXT tag title, women's tag titles. But now, apparently they've remembered that, and now they're going to unify the titles together into one title. So that's coming up in the next couple weeks. And this past Monday night on Raw, the SmackDown Women's Champion Rhea Ripley was presented with her new championship, which is also sitting on a white strap. And it's exactly the same title that Seth Rollins has, and she is now known as the Women's World Champion. We have the World Heavyweight Champion and the Women's World Champion. Rhea Ripley is now the Women's World Champion. And Money in the Bank is coming up. And this is what the landscape of Money in the Bank is looking like. Of course, Money in the Bank will be streaming live on Peacock here in the United States. It's $5 a month. I don't have to keep telling you guys this. You should know this already if you've been listening to my show since day one. Money in the Bank will be streaming live on Peacock, as well as the WWE Network still exists as its own entity overseas. So if you subscribe to the WWE Network overseas, you can watch it live on there. If you live in Australia, you can watch it on the streaming service Binge. It's a subscription service out of Australia. That's where you can watch Money in the Bank as well. It will be coming to you live from the O2 Arena in London, England. It's the first Money in the Bank pay-per-view to be held outside the United States, as well as the first major event to be held in London since Insurrection in May of 2002. And the matches so far, this is what has been announced for the Money in the Bank women's ladder match. It will be Zelina Vega versus Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark versus, who qualified this past Friday night on SmackDown, Bayley and Io Sky, both winning their qualifying matches. Bayley defeating who did Bayley wrestle? Wow. I'm losing my train of thought. I know Io Sky, I believe, defeated Shotzi, but I can't remember who the hell Bayley wrestled. Wow. Damn. Whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter because she qualified. So, yes, that is the landscape, and we have one more spot to be determined for the ladder match. This past, last night, I keep saying this past Monday like it's 2 days later or something. Last night on Raw, Damian Priest earned his spot and the final spot in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So it is now Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus L.A. Knight. Yeah! Santos Escobar, Butch from the Brawling Brutes, and Damian Priest from the Judgment Day. And two more matches were announced for Money in the Bank. It will be one-on-one, and I feel like this is perfect. It's your hottest babyface versus your hottest heel for certain. In a one-on-one match, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes goes one-on-one with Dominic Mysterio of the Judgment Day. Probably the most hated guy on the roster today versus the most loved guy on the roster today. It writes itself. That entire London crowd is going to be jamming up booze and booze upon booze on Dominic while they're going to be singing the praises of Cody Rhodes. Whoa! Yeah! And for the World Heavyweight Championship officially announced, Seth freaking Rollins will defend the title against the leader of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor. Man, last night they tried to have a promo exchange between the two of them, and the crowd would not let Finn get out one word. All they kept doing was just singing the praises of Seth freaking Rollins. It sounded like a church choir. Oh, 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 oh. Man, Seth, I don't know if Seth is over or the song is over or both. Who knows? But that was a great sight to see, actually. It was actually really crazy. They just would not stop. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Go on YouTube, Go on WWE's official YouTube page and just check out that segment between Balor and Rollins and just listen for yourself, because the crowd just would not let up. I think they were going for at least 5, maybe longer, maybe almost 10 minutes straight of just singing Seth Rollins' music, not allowing Finn Balor to get out not even one sentence, basically. But that should be a hell of a match for the World Heavyweight title between Rollins and Balor. I love how they're going back and forth. They're bringing it back. They acknowledge the fact that it was them two that created the Universal Champ. I mean, they were the finals of the Universal title whenever it was first created. And Balor was the one who defeated Rollins for that opportunity. And then Rollins was the one who pinned Balor to qualify for the finals of this World Heavyweight title tournament. So they're 1-1 apiece. This is the rubber match, and this is for the title. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if Rollins will get the same amount of love in London like he got last night, because Balor is he's not from London. He's from Ireland, but I mean, they're going to be in Europe. They're going to be in the backyard of the British wrestling scene where Finn Balor made his name. So who knows? Maybe the tables will turn, and Balor will be the one who is ultimately favorited by the crowd in the O2 Arena that night. But we will see on Saturday, July 1st. And that's it, guys. I mean, that's all I got for you today. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff today on the show, and I'm just glad that you guys stuck with me. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. If you haven't, I mean, take my word for it. If you haven't had a chance to watch an episode of Impact Wrestling on Access TV, if that's a channel that you guys get, or just checking out one of their pay-per-views. If you're sleeping on Impact, you should definitely look into them and check it out. Check out Impact. They're doing some great things. WWE's continuing to do some great things as well. The Bloodline storyline is continuing to be just compelling television. SmackDown had another strong rating this past Friday night on SmackDown. And then you got Forbidden Door. AEW's got a strong pay-per-view already set in stone with those 2 big matches announced already. So wrestling is looking pretty damn good this summer. We look like we got a strong summer of professional wrestling ahead of us. I'm really excited for it. Just stay tuned. Stay with your boy, the SoCal Saint. Follow me on the Twitter at IEElitePod. That's at IEElitePod. Follow IE Sports Radio. The hub is at IE Sports Radio is the Twitter. You can follow us. You can tap into all the shows there. You can actually check out our Spreaker page and listen to all of our shows there. Hell, check out IESportsRadio.com and check out past and present shows. Look into it. Find out, read some of the bios. Find out more about our hosts for all of our great shows. And, you know, just if you want some IE Sports Radio merch, there's still some available. And I'm sure there's going to be more coming. So check it out, guys. Be a follower. Be a fan. Really engage yourself with us. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what's good, what's not, and we'll learn from it, man. We'll grow together. This is a learning process. We've been doing this for 9 years, and we're still growing. We're still growing, guys. You got to learn how to walk before you can run, and that's what we're doing. We're playing the long game here, just like Rock said about the XFL. We're doing the long game. So to Larry B, sticking with your boy, the SoCal Saint, for all these years. I do appreciate it, because I know like I've said before, I've come and gone. I've disappeared due to whatever. Larry has always had my back and has always said that there was a spot for me here with this family, and I greatly appreciate that. Everybody in the IE Sports Radio family, we need to support each other. And we need to praise each other, and we need to just grow together, guys. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint. This has been the IE Elite Wrestling Show, the premier wrestling podcast, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. I will see you again next week. Same SoCal Saint time, same SoCal Saint channel. Deuces.